Hello and welcome to Vietnam. We're in the city of Hanoi in the north of the country. I believe it's actually the capital of the country. We arrived yesterday afternoon and we are slowly but surely getting over our jet lag. And we have a very exciting trip planned. It's a bit different to the kind of videos we normally make, but we are going to be doing some of the kinds of things that we normally do. It's a bit of an adventure holiday. We're with a group called E3 Global Adventures. They're based in Tasmania, and we actually bumped into them on another trip of ours many years ago in Laos, and we've subsequently been on other trips with them, and they're a great laugh. So we've come back to Vietnam to do some interesting projects, some charity work, and everything that we're going to be doing has got some kind of cause behind it, some kind of doing good venture, supporting local organizations, grassroots kind of stuff. But we're also going to be relaxing, having a good time, eating lots of amazing Vietnamese food, and we thought we'd bring you along for the ride. And speaking of rides, that is where we started earlier today. We jumped on some motorbikes and went to have a bit of a whistle-stop tour of this amazing city of Hanoi. It's good, huh? It's good.
Motorbike is one of the fastest and best ways to get around Hanoi, or any Southeast Asian city for that matter. We had the chance to explore the city just like the locals and enjoyed sites like the Ho Chi Minh Memorial, the Opera House, and the B-52 Victory Museum. But we also had the chance to get out of the city to enjoy something a little bit more peaceful. Banana Island is a huge plantation and farming area on the floodplains of the Red River. We enjoy gardening, and it was great to see how the Vietnamese grow a wide range of crops in a very different climate to Portugal. Although they do grow quite a lot of the same foods, including loofah, cabbage, beans, carrots, and more. Although we haven't successfully grown bananas yet. After a short stop here, we drove back to the city across the oldest bridge in Hanoi, the Long Bien Bridge, where, interestingly, the traffic flows in the opposite direction to usual, where they drive on the left instead of on the right. We had an early lunch of bun cha, a grilled pork noodle soup kind of thing with lots of fresh herbs, chili and garlic, and it was absolutely delicious. After lunch, we stopped by Train Street, which is an interesting local attraction where the local trains pass by within inches of people enjoying a refreshing beverage on the side of the tracks. Once the excitement of the train had passed, we too enjoyed a refreshing beverage. This is egg coffee, a very tasty combination of Vietnamese coffee, condensed milk, and whipped egg yolks. It was absolutely delicious, but unfortunately I lost the footage with my tasting notes. Our route back to the hotel was short but tight, winding through the back streets of Hanoi's old quarter. Incredibly, these roads are actually for two-way traffic. But even though it was a tight squeeze, we came through unscathed. To combat the jet lag, we stopped for a quick iced coffee and picked up some amazingly sweet fresh mango from a street food vendor. We shelled out 40,000 Vietnamese dong for this fruit, which is about €1.49. Fortunately, she had change for a 200,000 dong note, and we went on our merry way. For us, food is a huge part of any holiday, and dinner was a very special experience. We went to a restaurant called Koto, which stands for No One, Teach One. Koto is a social enterprise that provides hospitality training and real-world work experience for at-risk and disadvantaged youth in Vietnam. It gives them the opportunity to break the poverty cycle by forging a better future for themselves, their families, and their communities. This is one of Koto's training restaurants, but you'd never guess that, as the whole experience was absolutely perfect and the food was exceptional. To start, I had some lemongrass prawn and chicken skewers with pickled figs and a really nice zesty and spicy dipping sauce. For my main course, I enjoyed a perfectly cooked glazed duck breast on a potato cake with roasted garlic and mango. And Kylie was in heaven with some of the best fresh spring rolls I've ever stolen. I mean, watched her eat without touching at all. We finished our meal, said goodbye to the very friendly staff, and headed to the train station for a sleeper train to our next destination.
So next stop on our trip is quite a long way away, about 300 kilometers on this overnight train. So we're going to be setting off at about 9:30 p.m. We're going to be arriving about 5:30 tomorrow morning, and more exciting things are in store.
Just to give you a bit of context about where we're going, let's have a quick look at the map. So far, we've travelled from central Portugal to Frankfurt to Singapore to Hanoi. Now we're on the train from Hanoi to Lao Cai, about 290 kilometers to the north, close to the Chinese border. From here, we'll transfer by bus to the town of Sapa, and from there, we'll take a 5-hour hike up into the mountains, which is the location for our first project. And that project is going to be helping to build a house for a local ethnic minority family, and we'll be doing that build Vietnamese style. No electricity, no cement mixers, no levels or straight edges or anything like that. We're going to be mucking in with a group of local builders helping to build a house for this local family. But we're still pretty jet lagged, so let's hope we can get some sleep on this fairly old, slightly rickety, and quite noisy sleeper train.
You want to show us your crochet? And your pajamas? You're going to get comments about this.
Leisure wear, not pajamas.
It is 4:46 in the morning, and I think I've had approximately 46 seconds of sleeping. And I don't know if the microphone is picking up the experience that we've been having for the last almost 8 hours, but it is very loud. This was certainly an experience. The good news is we're only doing this one way. Need some coffee. How are you enjoying your adventure so far?
It's hot and it's humid, but it's nice to get off the beaten track and see how some of the minority groups live. And just learn about a different culture. And I get to check out some different construction methods. There's lots of these cool wooden houses, and then there's also where they use wooden or concrete pillars and then infill, much like the Portuguese style. So it's fascinating.
So this is the kind of house that we're going to be building. I have no idea what the size of it is yet, but it's like a timber framed structure with infill bricks. Quite similar to the way the Portuguese do it, but they do it with concrete rather than wood. But yeah, something like this. Maybe bigger, maybe smaller. We'll find out together.
Quick, don't get left behind.
Do you miss your chickens?
Yeah, we should get some little ones. Chicken math is true.
Do you want to explain where the chickens are? Because people will ask.
They're on chicken camp. They are staying with a friend of ours, with her flock, on chicken camp. Go on, off you go.
Unfortunately, the mist didn't clear throughout our entire 5-hour hike up into the hills, but eventually we reached our destination, a traditional Red Zao homestay in the middle of nowhere.
Hello. I think you might be dinner.
We dumped our bags and checked into our accommodation, essentially a spare room in somebody's house. And then we settled into homestay life, sitting around the fire with the family as they cooked dinner for us, having a beer, having a chat, and relaxing after a very long but very enjoyable hike.
Yeah, there's still cars. One of my favourite
Hey, Mommy. Gonna have some baby soon, yeah? No, we have no food, I'm sorry.
Bright and early the next morning, we set off on a 5-kilometre walk to the house build site.
The site access is quite steep, but the view is quite something. Oh, and we're still going up further. Shall we?
The weather had still not improved much, but after an hour's walk up some very steep terraces, we arrived on site to see how much progress the local team of builders had made in advance. The timber frame and cement sheet roof were up, and they'd made a start on the foundations and some of the block work for the external walls. Over the next 2 days, the team of 16 travellers and a handful of local contractors pitched in to see how much progress we could make in a short amount of time. Moving bricks, mixing mortar, laying blocks, and digging drainage trenches. One of Kylie's all-time favourite activities.
Never ends. Look at that.
These volunteers, including Kylie and I, have no professional bricklaying or building experience. We're just normal people who are willing and able to get involved with a project like this. Yes, it might be faster to fly in some cheap labour from Thailand or somewhere like that, but that's not really the point. For us, a holiday like this is an amazing adventure and an absolute privilege, as well as being very rewarding to give assistance to a family in need. And for the locals, they get to meet and work alongside some of the people who are donating their time and money to these kinds of projects. It's a great opportunity for two very different groups of people with very different lives to connect and learn from each other. It's a true community project all round, and it was definitely a highlight of the holiday for us in particular. There's so much more to say about this whole project, but I'll leave that for the dedicated video that we'll be releasing about the house build soon. If you don't want to miss that, click subscribe and turn on notifications, and you'll get it in your feed as soon as it's published.
It's a great holiday.
Oh, I thought you were going to comment on the construction method.
I mean, the construction's awesome. The timber work is good. The bricklaying, excellent.
Oh, but there's no line down there yet, is there?
They have not got a limecrete floor, but you know, we can educate them on that one.
Maybe.
Just kidding.
Someone's done a bit of a... One here and one on the back.
After 2 days of hard graft, there was quite an emotional handover to the new owners of this house, and whilst we didn't completely finish it in 2 days, hardly surprising, all the funds are in place for the locals to continue working with the family to finish off their dream home.
Running to me and say can again, especially May. Is the mother of the two boys. Come to me just like even 5 minutes ago. Can you please say to everyone is we are really appreciate for your help. Not just about money, it's about your love, your hand. What they show we did in last 2 days is brilliant.
And it just comes together to make a real difference in the world. So thanks to each and every one of you.
Not going.
Thank you very much, especially for Tunic and Pam.
Delightful. You're showing great techniques there,
I'm going the chocolate sauce because apparently it's homemade. Oh, please.
One?
Yep. That's it.
Back at the homestay, another beautiful moment of appreciation was brewing. Along with gifts for the house build family and supplies for a number of local schools, a few of the volunteers had brought along reading glasses to donate to the local ladies. Many of these women make their living from hand-embroidered textiles, similar to the traditional clothes that they're wearing. But many of the women need glasses for their close-up stitch work, but have no way to get them. The homestay courtyard was a hive of activity with ladies of all ages trying on all sorts of specs. Big ones, small ones, some weak, some strong, and even some sunglasses. This moment was wonderful and so powerful to watch that the E3 team have already started making plans for a dedicated project to bring in equipment for remote eye tests and lens kits to hand out glasses on the spot. A really cool idea and something that will make a huge difference to the lives of these women. It was time to say goodbye to our wonderful homestay hosts and head back down the mountain to Sapa town for the next day or so to rest and recuperate. For Kylie and I, this involved lots of walking around, soaking up the atmosphere, eating, drinking, and enjoying a massage or two. A classic Southeast Asian pastime, although not one that I can really film. On our tour of the local restaurants, Kylie found the fanciest spring rolls of the trip, which had a very decorative garnish, although they were a little hot. But we also sampled a wide variety of snacks, stir-fries, rice and noodle dishes, local beers, coffee, and some delicious fresh fruit smoothies. As day turned to night, Sapa turned into a bit of a party town with lots of loud music and bright and brilliant lights on almost every building. It was quite a stark contrast to where we'd just been, but the comforts of an air-conditioned hotel, a soft mattress, and a warm shower were most welcome. In fact, I think this was our first night of restful sleep since we landed almost a week ago. There wasn't much time to rest because the next day we were off again, with a quick visit to the Chinese border en route to our next destination.
You want to go to China?
Not today.
It's a good job Kylie didn't want to go to China because that was not the plan anyway. We jumped back on the bus for a couple of hours' ride to our next stop, which was the small town of Bac Ha, a fairly unassuming place apart from a very special market held on a Sunday morning. It is the largest ethnic minority market in all of Vietnam, and it was pretty epic.
No, thank you.
The market was quite incredible. Not just the selection of fruit, veg, herbs, spices, and other delicacies on offer, but the sounds and the smells too. It was absolutely heaving, bustling with activity, and this was all before 7 o'clock in the morning. After about an hour of walking around and soaking up this visual feast, we boarded the bus once more and tried to catch up on some sleep on our way to our next stop of Ha Giang, about 150 kilometers and a 4-hour journey away. And waiting for us in Ha Giang was our next mode of transport.
All right, welcome back to Vietnam and to a ridiculous outfit. And this is explained by the fact that for the next 4 days we're going to be taking a motorbike tour around something called the Ha Giang Loop. We're going to be doing some sightseeing, but we've also got a few charity stops to make as well. And we'll explain all of those as we get to them. But for now, I'm going to try and climb on the back of a motorbike and we're going to take a short drive.
It's a neat look.
I'm just wondering whether...
So this section of the trip turned out to be both amazing and also a bit rubbish. It was rubbish because Kylie and I both got sick. We picked up a cold or a flu or something, and neither of us were feeling 100% for the rest of the trip. But it was also amazing because we got to enjoy a very off-the-beaten-track version of Vietnam. And so much so that we're actually making a separate dedicated video to this 4-day section of the holiday, with all the details of the route we took around the Ha Giang Loop and the projects and charity work that we took part in along the way. So this is just the short version. We set off from Ha Giang, and 4 days and about 400 kilometers later, we reached our destination of Ha Giang. It's a circular route, so I guess that's to be expected. But along the way, we stopped off at some places of cultural interest, dropped off some educational supplies to a number of local schools, and helped deliver over 100 water tanks to one of the poorest villages in the Ha Giang province, which is actually the second poorest province in the whole of the country. Along the way, we enjoyed some absolutely breathtaking scenery. Here's a quick preview, but definitely keep your eye out for the longer version of the story, which we'll be publishing soon.
Cheers.
By the end of the ride, my illness was starting to get the better of me.
I honestly thought I was about to pass out.
But after some decent sleep in the rather nice Royal Hotel, I was back on my feet and ready for the 6.5 hour, 396 kilometer bus ride to our final stop, Tam Coc. After all the excitement of hiking, homestaying, house building, and hooning around the mountains on motorbikes, Tam Coc was a welcome moment of peace and tranquility. We were here for 4 nights, and the plan was not to do much, other than enjoy a massage or two, more delicious food. This is banh mi, a Vietnamese baguette of pate, grilled pork, pickled vegetables, fresh herbs and chili, and perhaps a swim in the hotel pool. But we did get out and about for one last mini adventure at nearby Trang An. Trang An is famous for 2 things. Firstly, being one of the locations in the 2017 blockbuster movie Kong, Skull Island, and secondly, being an area of supreme natural beauty, mostly untouched, apart from all the tourists, and full of deep valleys and waterways weaving between limestone karsts. We took a 3-hour boat ride from Trang An, which was equal parts relaxing and mesmerizing. We journeyed calmly through the waterways, while our boat guide rode like an Olympic athlete in the hot morning sun. It was a pretty toasty 35 degrees Celsius even this early in the morning. We stopped off to visit a handful of temples and pagodas along the way, but the highlight was drifting through the massive cave networks that connect the different parts of the river system together.
It's kind of cool. Oh, good luck.
That was something different.
It was a brilliant way to spend a morning and a great way to end the trip.
So unfortunately, our holiday is about to come to an end, and that means so is this video. We still have the traveling part to do, and that is the least enjoyable, the most tedious, and the least visually interesting. So we're going to just skip all of that and wrap it up here. It has been quite a trek all around the country, with some sickness in the middle and all sorts of wonderful activities. Even though it was a pretty full-on schedule, we definitely do feel rested. It's always nice to have a change from the normal day-to-day, and that is exactly what we've had over the last couple of weeks. I certainly had a good time. Let's see if Kylie thinks the same. Hi, how are you doing there?
I'm a little bit...
Worse for wear?
Unfortunately, I've been unwell for the... On and off, it's been very strange. But let's not dwell on that. I am rested. We've got lots of sleep. I've had an amazing time. I've already started planning in my head what we're going to do as soon as we arrive back in Portugal.
I thought you were going to say planning the next holiday.
That too. So if you have been following our Portugal renovation journey, don't worry. We'll be back at it very shortly. I have many lists and things in my head. But I'm so glad we came away, and it really has taught us, again, or reminded us, let's say, of how important it is for us to take a bit of time out. And we're going to do a bit more of that. And I think there'll be a lot of Portugal travel coming up in the second half of this year, because I think it's really important for us to rest our brains and our bodies and enjoy life, because this project that we've embarked on is going to take a long time. To look forward to some more travel videos, but also some other interesting projects which we have planned.
And speaking of other videos, I mentioned earlier in this one that we're going to do 2 other Vietnam videos that go into a little bit more detail on some of the activities that we've done. We're going to have one that is dedicated to the house building project, so we'll talk a lot more about who it was for and why it happened and all the things relating to the house build. And then we're also going to do another one that is in depth on the motorbike tour on the Ha Giang Loop. So this was kind of like the overview of the entire trip, but we do have more Vietnam adventures for you, so do subscribe to check those out when they hit the feed. But we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye bye.